Pinocchio, Chapter 3. Geppetto names his puppet Pinocchio. Geppetto lived in a small ground floor room that was only lighted from the staircase. The furniture could not have been simpler. A rickety chair, a poor bed, and a broken-down table. At the end of the room, there was a fireplace with a lighted fire, but the fire was painted, and by the fire was a painted saucepan that were boiling cheerfully and sending out a cloud of smoke that looked exactly like real smoke. As soon as he reached home, Geppetto took his tool and set to work to cut out and model his puppet. "What name shall I give him?" he said to himself. "I think I will call him Pinocchio. It is a name that will bring him luck. I once knew a poor family so called. There was Pinocchio the father, Pinocchio the mother, and Pinocchio the trident, and all of them did well. The richest of them was a big beggar. Having found a name for his puppet, he began to work in good earnest, and he first made his hair, then his forehead, and then his eyes. The eyes being finished, and imagine his astonishment when he perceived that they moved and looked fixedly at him. Geppetto, seeing himself stared at by those two wooden eyes, said in an angry voice, "Quick, wooden eyes, why do you look at me?" No one answered. He then proceeded to carve the nose, but no sooner had he made it than it began to grow, and it grew and grew and grew, until in a few minutes it had become an immense nose that seemed as if it would never end. Poor Geppetto tired himself out with cutting of it off, but the more he cut and shortened it, the longer did that impertinent nose become. The mouth was not even completed when it began to laugh and deride him. "Stop laughing," said Geppetto, provoked, but he might as well have spoken to the wall. "Well, stop laughing, and I say," he roared in a threatening tone. The mouth then kissed, laughing, but put out its tongue as far as it would go. Geppetto, not to spoil his handwork, pretended not to see and continued his labor. After the mouth he fastened the chin, then the throat, then the shoulder, the stomach, the arms, and the hand. The hunt were scarcely finished when Geppetto felt his wig snatched from his head. He turned round.
네?
Rồi mắt mình nó sụp xuống ấy. He saw his yellow wig in the puppet's hand. Pinocchio, give me back my wig instantly. But Pinocchio, instead of returning it, put it on his own head, and was in consequence nearly smoothed. Geppetto at this insolent and derisive behavior felt sadder and more melancholy than his had ever been in his life before, and turning to Pinocchio, he said to him, "You young rascal, you are not yet completed, and you are already beginning to show want to respect to your father. That is bad, my boy, very bad." And he dried a tear. The leg and the feet remained to the done. When Geppetto had finished the feet, he received a kick on the point of his nose. "I deserve it," he said to himself. "I should have thought of it no sooner. Now it is too late." He then took the puppet under the arms and placed him on the floor to teach him to work. Pinocchio's leg was stiff and he could not move, but Geppetto led him by the hand and showed him how to put on foot before the other. When his legs became limber, Pinocchio began to work by himself and to run about the room until, having gone out to the house door, he jumped into the street and escaped. Poor Geppetto rushed after him, but was not able to overtake him, for that rascal Pinocchio leaped in front of him to lighter here, and knocking his wooden feet together against the pavement, made as much clatter and 20 fair pair of peasant clogs. Stop him, shouted Geppetto, but the people in the street, seeing a wooden puppet running like a raced horse, stood still in astonishment to look at it, and laughed. At last, as good luck would have it, a soldier arrived, who, hearing the uproar, imagined that a coat had escaped from his master, planting himself courageously with his leg apart in the middle of the road. He waited with the determined purpose of stopping him and thus preventing the chance of worse disaster. When Pinocchio, still at some dis- distance, saw the soldier barricading the whole street, he endeavored to take him by surprise and to pass between his legs, but he fled entirely the soldier, without disturbing himself in the least, caused him cleverly by the nose and gave him to Geppetto, wishing to punish him. Geppetto intended to pull his ears at once, but imagine his feeling when he could not succeed in finding them. And do you know the reason? In his hurry to model him, he had forgotten to make any ear. He then took him by the collar, and as he was leading him away, he said to him, shaking his head, threatening, "We will go home at once, and as soon as we arrive, we will settle our account and never doubt it." At this information, Pinocchio threw himself on the ground and would not take another step. In the meanwhile, a crowd of eager and inquisitive people began to assemble and to make a ring around them. Some of them said one thing, some another. Poor prepared said several. It is right not to wish to return home. Who know how Jupiter, that hard old man, will beat him? And the other added maliciously, Jupiter seems as good man, but with boy he is a regular tyrant. If that poor puppet he left in his hands, he is quite capable of tearing him in pieces. It, it ended, he is so much being said, and then that the soldier, as at last said Pierino, is liberty and let Geppetto to prison. The poor man, not being ready with words to defend himself, cried like a calf, and as he was being led away to prison, sobered out. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.